and welcome to another episode of the SoFLo Sports Show. Happy March. It's your host, 305 Sports Babe, Ashley, with co-host Lou from Dade. And tonight we are so excited about the guest that we're going to bring on real soon. You guys know him. He's covered everything South Florida sports, most recent Olympics, such a Heat insider, you name it. He has done it. The great Tim Reynolds with the Associated Press. We're going to talk to him about the state of the union of the South Florida sports, right? And he also released a book a few months ago called The Miami Heat, an Illustrated Timeline. And it was your birthday that he was down here. And I said, What do you want to do your birthday weekend? You said, go to a Dolphins game and meet Tim Reynolds.
We went to the Dolphin game, Dolphins versus Saints. They actually won that game.
And you got to meet Tim Reynolds.
Exactly. We ran out of the building right away and headed straight to Coral Gables and Books, where he was doing an event.
Picked up Father Manny.
Correct. Picked up Father Manny. And we got the book. So here's your copy. You want to hold that up?
Yes.
Tim was gracious enough to sign it for us. So that's your copy. Here's my copy. I didn't want to share it. And he was gracious enough to sign it for us.
A birthday gift.
It is, yes, it was my birthday gift. Tremendous honor meeting the great Tim Reynolds and having us sign this amazing book.
Mine as well.
And we're going to talk about this later on. It's really, if you're a Heat fan or just an NBA fan in general, because you cannot tell the history of the NBA without talking about the Miami Heat in this recent run here in the past 7 NBA finals.
So mine's a little different than yours. He signed mine to 305, which I thought was really awesome.
And you also
I got Coach Bo too.
Coach Bo's autograph as well. So congratulations on that.
This one is not going to be a giveaway. All right, guys. But talking about a giveaway, stay tuned to the end of the show because you can find out how you can win a copy of this book. This book is awesome, and we're going to be giving away one at the end of the episode, so stay tuned for that. Before we bring in our guests, let's just check in the chat room. Josephine Evie from Daytona Beach, that's my grandmother. Hello, Ashley and Lewis tuning in tonight. Like always, hello. Miami Mike Revere from the West Coast. Hey, guys. Adrian Atran, what's up, beautiful people? Hello. Big C's, the biggest Panthers fan I know. And you know he was at 11 last week with
yes, he was.
And he lives his best life. We also have Robert Ashton in the house. And then Big C's, that's amazing. Love the Heat, especially the 2006 team. So, all right.
Without further ado, let's bring on our guest. I want to introduce him before you bring him in right away. Obviously been covering South Florida for a long time, South Florida sports. But he's also covered an amazing amount of events. Here's a list. You ready for it? I have to write it down, so I'm going to look on over here. He's covered the Super Bowl, the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup Final, the World Series, the Masters, college football championships. He's covered, and he just got back from Milan Cortina, where he was covering his, I don't know
Olympics.
What amount of Olympics is his bobsledding. So he's covered it all. If it's an event of great magnitude in the sports world, Tim Reynolds has been there and covered it. So, guys, everybody on the show, please welcome the great Tim Reynolds. Tim, welcome to the show.
Perfect. There he is.
I feel like we're out of time already with all that.
Lose a talker, yeah.
You need a proper introduction, Tim. I'm sorry.
And the best part was, so Ash opens up her book, and I'm like, oh, SPO
on the other side.
He lied about as many books that night as I did, but it was great to have him there. So
it was so great. I mean, you were the star of the show, but I'll tell you had a great supporting cast with Bam and SPO, and I know the whole list goes on. That, yeah. So no, that was just such a fantastic night, and we're so grateful that you held it in our. Well, we don't live in Coral Gables, but we work. I work there, so it was just so close to have you here, and it was a fantastic night. But all right, Tim, before we get into the world of sports, I wanted to go back to little Tim growing up. Did you always want to do this?
In a minute.
Rewind just 20 years ago. I want to know if you always wanted to cover sports. What did you see yourself doing as you were growing older? Was this like a backup plan, or was this, hey, 6 years old, I want to do this? Take us back there.
So here's the deal. I grew up in a really tiny town in upstate New York. My grandmother was the second grade teacher. And our school, it's not a one-room schoolhouse, but our school has kindergarten through 12th grade in one building.
Oh my goodness.
It's really, really tiny. So at least up there, it's normal. Down here, it's like, how is that possible? But up where I'm from, everybody's kind of that way. So I grew up, and I don't know why. I wish I had a reason. I don't. I loved newspapers. I loved reading the newspaper, reading baseball boxes, reading basketball box scores. I even read like the stock page. I had no idea what I was reading. I didn't understand the stock page at all, but I was fascinated by numbers and like, oh, this changed 1%, this changed 3%. Da, 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 da. So having said that, you would think the dream would have been to be a newspaper reporter, but it wasn't. My dream was I wanted to teach math and coach basketball. That was what I thought I was going to be. That's what I thought I was going to do. And shortly before my 18th birthday, that newspaper that I always carried with me, the Post-Star, a paper in Glens Falls, which was our, quote, hometown paper, like an hour from the town where I lived, had an opening for a sports clerk. Okay. $54 a week. This paid in 1991. It was $6 an hour, 9 hours a week. And I needed gas money. So little Tim, as you put it, Ash, littler, I will say that. The years haven't been kind. I got the job. And I was very lucky in that I had done like a little bit of like, I was like a student assistant coach at Castleton State for women's basketball for 1 year when I was 16. It's a long story, but so I would write game notes because I was fascinated by these media notes that I saw at another school. And I would type up game notes about our women's basketball team, except we had no media. Like nobody ever saw these notes, but they were the only things I had done that I could show this newspaper editor, this guy named Ken Tingley, as a writing sample. Like, hey, this is what I know about sports. And he hired me based off those notes. Within a couple of months, I was working like 35 hours a week. I was out covering games. I had an incredible staff of people around me. We had a guy in that staff that won the Pulitzer Prize for editorial writing. Wow. We had a guy in that staff who's like he's an arts and culture reporter for the Indianapolis Star right now and knows everybody in the music world. We had a guy who was one of the best sports design guys in the world, a guy named Scott Goldman, who was at the Washington Post. We just had so many really talented people that I got extremely lucky of being in right place, right time. And I was there for a few years, bounced around to a few papers, thought I was going to get out of the game, thought I was done and was going to go do the teaching thing. I actually took a long-term sub job at my home school. I was going to go back to school and finish the teaching and all that. Wow. And a guy I worked with at that first paper called me up and said, "You've got an interview in Albany tomorrow." I'm like, "No, I don't." And he goes, "Yeah, you're coming because this guy always hires the first guy he interviews."
Oh, nice.
You have to be here tomorrow. I went. I got the job at a newspaper in Albany. I started covering Siena basketball. I met my wife at that paper.
So nice.
Here we are 3 decades later. I'm at the AP. So I am the luckiest guy ever in that I just kept hitting right place, right time. And no, this was not the plan. And that was a really long-winded answer. But
I love it.
So there's for some reason this path chose me. And I'm super, super thankful that it did.
The opportunities that you have, the events that you've covered, I mean, even if you were to write an autobiography about yourself, it's extraordinary. And clearly you don't take it for granted, but you do a fantastic job at what you do.
Absolutely. And part of that path took you to Syracuse. I know Ashley's a St. John's alum, and so
let's not go there.
Old Big East rivals, but obviously Syracuse is a school where everybody who excels in journalism goes to. So your time there?
I didn't actually attend Syracuse. I went to a basketball camp at Syracuse. I didn't. People think that all the time that I went to Syracuse. I ended up at a Division III hockey school called Plattsburgh State, and so I did not attend Syracuse. It's one of the great regrets of my life that I didn't go there. And I think a 6'1", slow, couldn't jump. I think I would have helped. I've told Coach Boeheim that a couple of times over the years. I would have helped you. And I think he once thought that I could probably fold towels with the best of them. So I might have been able to help in a managerial capacity.
I think Luke Carnesecca would have took you, Tim. If you gave New York's team a shot, Luke Carnesecca would have took you. Just saying.
I'm sorry, but Syracuse is New York's college team, as you know.
Fine. But where are they at this year?
I loved Lou. I absolutely loved Lou. What a character. I never really met him. I was at a Nike basketball coaching clinic once, and he spoke at it. And of course, the sweater was on.
Yes.
And I was just in awe. I was like, I mean, the way guys like Louis and, when Rolly came down here, Rolly was coaching in West Palm Beach. And then, at Kaiser, that's how his coaching career ultimately ended, was at Kaiser. And then a lot of people don't realize that, but knowing Coach Boeheim a teeny tiny, like very tiny bit, but to be able to say I was around Coach, to know Coach Mass, and get to spend some time with him in the years before he died, and then to cover this Heat team that has that Pat Riley guy kind of running it. I've been so lucky to be around basketball royalty. It's crazy. It's crazy the people that I've been able to be in rooms with. I don't pretend like I know them all. I'm not like that. I'm not
really, because Bam Adebayo is pretty much your best friend. I think we saw that. I mean, they know you very well.
I'm very, like I said, I know how lucky I am. But this for a guy who averaged 12 points as a senior in high school, this game has taken me an awful lot of places, and I've gotten so much better from the game than I ever deserved.
You absolutely have. And speaking of lucky, as we mentioned, you just came back from Milan Cortina.
From Italy.
And so, the Olympics, this is what number is this for you covering between winter and summer?
It was my 13th.
Incredible.
Oh my gosh.
And you got two more on the state side on the way in Los Angeles in 2028, and then Salt Lake City not too far after that. So big deal here. But it's a tremendous moment. We were captivated. I think all of America's captivated by seeing these incredible athletes perform on this stage that they've endured 4 years of their life to get to this moment.
Even more, their whole life.
Right, their whole life. But,
Yeah.
Waiting specifically for this moment. And it's truly amazing. Obviously, speaking on SoFLo Sports, we're going to focus on the men's hockey and the women's hockey team that beat Canada, both in the gold medal game. And so what was where was your view of those two games? And how was the scene there to see both the United States men's and women's team beat the great Canadian national teams?
Well, it was funny because I was covering, like Ash said, I was covering bobsled and the sliding sports, bobsled, skeleton, and luge. So I was up in Cortina d'Ampezzo, and I wasn't in Milan for the hockey games, but I was obviously a very interested observer. And the funny part was when you're watching them, the screams are like staggered. Like, are you watching the Olympic feed? Are you watching on your laptop on HBO Max? Are you watching on your phone? Like, the latency was like a little bit off. So when something would happen, you'd hear scream, then a pause, then a big scream, then pause, then another scream. Like, because nobody was watching at exactly the same time, which was kind of hilarious. So, but when you heard that first scream, you knew something was coming. So, what the women did, first of all, let's talk about them, not because they won it first, but they had basically 2 shifts left to get a goal against a team that knows everything they're going to do and how they're going to do it. The U.S.-Canada women's rivalry, I don't think enough people understand how much respect there is. And when there's that much respect, there's also that much hate, too. I mean, there's also that much venom. I mean, there's a lot of ultimate respect, but a ton of bad blood, kind of like Heat Knicks, say, like 30 years ago or something like that. They know each other really well. They're obviously the 2 best programs ever to walk the women's hockey planet. For them to have the poise, and plus it was a great grouping. Like, you had Layla Edwards out there, who's a kid, and she's at, basically the high slot or the point, whatever you want to call it. And then, of course, you got, Hillary, who's, the Grand Dame, who's run this thing for like 20 years.
Yeah.
When they're on the ice together, and it was kind of like a very symbolic, okay, you've got this generation, you've got the old guard. what can they make happen? They made magic happen. And then obviously the goal in overtime, just such an incredible moment. I know the Panthers alluded to this a little bit, but it did kind of remind me of a Brad Marchand goal in Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final. Just another good moment for fans in the U.S. Maybe not such a great moment for Canadian fans, but that was amazing. And then, of course, the men's game. Many Pepsids were consumed during that game. You just are into it so much. And obviously, as an American, I'm not covering it, so I can say, you want your team to win. Obviously.
Yeah.
I wasn't writing off it necessarily. It wasn't like you're sitting there rooting, but it gets to overtime. And you're just praying at that point, please let it be a good goal.
Yeah.
Please don't let something stupid happen. Like Sid's golden goal in 2010 to win it in Vancouver, that was a good goal. That was a great goal. You want it to be a play like that. And ultimately, we got a pretty good one. It may not have had the drama of Sid, but then again, that's a guy in his home country with a loony, famously, buried at center ice, one of Gretzky's little tricks that he did at that Olympics. This one wasn't quite like that. It wasn't a home ice goal for Jack, but just obviously a moment that 46 years in the making. And it was kind of funny. I was in a car after the game. I was going from Cortina to Venice because that's the nearest airport, and I was flying out the next morning. So I'm in a car, and I say to the driver, excuse me, I got to make a phone call. And so I'm doing the call, and I'm doing it on speaker and taping the call. So I can because I can't be in a car in the back and type.
No.
I'm not. I get car sick still to this day.
You and I both. I completely get it.
So I'm taping the call, and I'm talking to the guy for 5 or 6 minutes for a story that we're going to do that night. And I get done, and the driver stops and doesn't stop the car, but he turns and looks back at me a little bit, and he goes, "Were you talking to Mike Eruzione?" And I was like, "Yes, I was."
You don't know who I am? Wow. And now you do.
Who are you? And I said, I'm just a guy very lucky to have Mike Eruzione's phone number tonight. So.
Oh, my goodness. That's probably like.
That's incredible.
That's.
I know you want to follow up with the Panthers, but I got to just interject because we were in Buffalo for the Dolphins-Bills game, and then we ventured over to Toronto. And that game was a Thursday night, and then we're in Toronto on Sunday, and it's an NFL Sunday back stateside. But over there, they're watching exhibition NHL preseason games.
Mm-hmm. So meanwhile, the Blue Jays are close to clinching. No, you can't find a Blue Jays game anywhere.
But they're all about exhibition hockey. So it just tells you how much it's obviously Canada's sport. And for the United States to sweep in both the men's and women's just tells you everything you need to know about how monumental those victories were.
No, it's extraordinary. But I got to tell you, as great as the hockey was, looking back, if I could pick any sport to compete in the Winter Olympics, bobsledding. And I'm a big girl, and I'm telling you, I would fly. So watch out 2020, watch out 2030. I'm coming after you. I need to get monumental in my life here.
If you want to get into a bobsled,
I would love it.
I don't know if you would, but we can make that happen for you.
There you go.
Tim, I'm all about a wild life, and I know it's fast, enduring. You crash a little bit. So we may be talking about that because nice. I got a bucket list going on and jumping out of an airplane, and I think number 2 is now bobsledding, and number 3 is all the ballparks.
I love it.
So, all right, so let's switch gears.
Hang on, before you commit to this, I need you to take a look at the videos from Jason Kelsey and Colin Jost, the last their bobsled experiences for the next few weeks, and then get back to me. If you want to get into a sled, I'll get you in. But I don't. It's not for everyone.
I'm not going to wear the eyelashes. I know the eyelashes won't survive, but I watched the one clip where they were in a factory and they had where the wind goes over the all of that stuff. So I'm like,
the wind tunnel that's the actual wind tunnel in Ohio that they use for aerodynamics. You won't have to worry about that. You will not be very aerodynamic. You are going to want to look around, and the G forces. I don't know how to explain to people how you are going to feel like you weigh 3, 4, 5 times more than you actually do.
That's what I feel like today.
It kind of feels like my recollection of my one time taking a semi full speed one.
So you bought a little bit, okay?
I've done it 3 times. Twice were kind of like whatever. The third one was kind of close to the real thing.
Wow.
And it sort of felt like how I think a fish would feel getting the bones taken out when they serve the fish. Like it just feels like coming out of your spine.
Whoa.
Like rip. It's not pleasant. And then your first thought, I apologize to your grandmother in Daytona when I say this. Your first thought when you're done is, I hope that's not pee. It's just, you don't know what's gone on for those 45 seconds. It's
wow.
Everything released.
It's so intense. But if you want to do it,
okay,
Tim,
we can get to Lake Placid and get it done.
There you go. Well, I'm gonna follow Big C's lead, and I'm gonna stick to curling because I'm pretty sure I can do that sport. So
that's
I'll
on land. That's on land. We can do that.
You don't even clean the house. You don't even know the motion to wipe down thing. All right, so let's talk a little Panthers. This year, unfortunately, it's not looking too good. Our 2-time defending champions are in a lot of trouble. We only have 22 games left. We lost the last 2 against Buffalo and also the Islanders. And so do you think right now at this point, the Panthers have a shot of seeing some hockey in May and June, some playoff action? Do you think it's going to happen again this year, Tim?
I don't think it will.
Okay.
Do they have a shot? I mean, there's a couple games this week that, if you win those, then maybe. Like, I'm not saying absolutely not yet.
Okay.
But obviously, the numbers are bad. Like, they need to go like 18-4 the rest of the way to do it. And I kind of wonder, losing last night the way that they did. First of all, I don't think I've never been one to think that games are decided by a call. But you could argue that Friday night, that's interference. You could argue that one. And then that game is decided by a call because at 1-1, you wouldn't give up the empty netter. And who knows what would have happened. They just haven't. Obviously, they lost Barkov 20 minutes into camp. And Matthew Tkachuk has missed 47 games. Cooley's played like 2. Seth Jones. Marchand missed time. Like, everything that could have happened happened. Your core is signed through like 2095. Like, the window doesn't close this season. I know there's chatter out there about Bob. I am very much of the school that Bob comes back.
Okay.
I think you want Sergei Bobrovsky back. This has not been a great defense all year because it's been missing guys all year. And by the way, Bob's never been like great number guy. Like, Bob's never been the guy with the 188 GAA. Like, Bob gives up goals, but in April, May, or June, who's been better than Bob the last 2 years? Nobody. So I think Bob's earned the right to come back if that's what he and his family decide they want to do. I would imagine that they'll try to create some financial flexibility for themselves if the next couple of days don't go the way they want. And, that draft pick is top 10 protected, something to keep an eye on. They could get a nice little bonus out of this deal. So the window is not closed. The run is not over. Do I think it'll happen this year? No, obviously not now. But there's still a chance. And if this team gets in, nobody's going to want to see them coming, obviously. I still – there's a lot to be excited about for years about this team because of the 2 guys you just put up on the screen. The fact that Bill Zito's never won the Jack Adams is a joke. It's an absolute joke that he's never been GM of the year.
I know.
And Paul Maurice has been the right guy for this team since day one. And he makes the joke that he took a 122-point team and turned it into a 92-point team and how that was brilliant coaching. Well, it kind of was because, he took a style that was great for the regular season but wasn't meant for postseason hockey and gotten them to 3 finals and 2 cups. This is a pretty good deal that Panther fans have been on. It's a pretty good ride, and the ride does not end, whether there's an 83rd game this season or not. There's an awful lot to be excited about going forward. And when they open camp next year, no matter what happens the next couple of weeks, the expectation is going to be a cup, and rightly so, because they're going to be that good, and they're that good for a while.
Nice. And not quite 2095, Tim, but 2030 here is when this window is going to go to at least. And, with obviously all these guys, the core guys signed till then, the expectation is for, as you just mentioned, them to be right back next year
cups.
Competing for another cup, quite a few cups. So what do you think, how many do you think they'll get here in this 5-year run? How many do you think they can get, and how many do you think they will get?
Under Bill Zito and Paul Maurice.
Well, I mean, it's a really difficult question because it is the toughest trophy to win.
Absolutely.
It really is. Just, you need to be so lucky, the physicality, you need to avoid key injuries. I mean, it's really tough to say that they're going to win another one. I think they could, but you're not going to go out and say, yes, I think they're going to win 2 of the next 4. Do I think they are one of the teams that can absolutely go into next season saying, if healthy, there's a shot? I mean, look, you never know. I mean, Barkey got hurt 20 minutes into camp. Like, you just don't know. I would answer the question like this. For at least the next 2 or 3 years, they will go into the year with a chance.
Sure.
Considering what this franchise has gone through and what the day one fans have gone through for those 25 years of waiting for something good to happen, you don't sneeze at the idea of, well, we've got a pretty good chance of winning the thing. It's super tough. Look what Bob did to the Lightning. Was it his last year in Columbus? The Lightning had 128 points that year. They were the best team in the world, and Bob got super hot and swept them. Like, you just never know in the playoffs. So to say that they're absolutely going to win another cup, you don't do that, but they'll be in the mix. And this team has shown. I mean, look, down 2-0 to Toronto last year.
Yeah.
Everybody on Twitter was flipping out. Nobody in Sunrise or Fort Lauderdale, depending on where they were, whether was it post game or post practice.
Yeah.
Nobody was flipping out there. Like, they knew what they had. They had confidence. They knew they just had to win 4 out of 5 games. They do that all the time. It was us mortals that were like, oh my gosh, this doesn't look real good. They're not going to be worried about it. And I think if nothing else, it's been a lot of miles. It's been a lot of games. A long summer this year might be just the thing to help some guys out. Come back fully refreshed. Alexander Barkov comes back with a bit of an attitude after missing a year, after missing an Olympics. I think Barkey's not going to be a little fired up. And by the way, he absolutely loved that Paul Maurice snuck a line in that maybe a few people missed last week when he said you could argue that Alexander Barkov's the best player in the world. That's how much the Panthers value him. I mean, Connor McDavid is faster. Connor McDavid scores more points, and you could argue Connor might be the best ever when this thing's all said and done.
Yeah.
But for the Florida Panthers, Alexander Barkov's the best player in the world. And the fact that this team has been remotely close to the mix, when you get to your season and say, oh, by the way, this guy's not going to play this year, that's kind of impressive when you think about it. So, look, you can be disappointed for this year. Don't give up on it yet. There's still games to play, but you're going to be good for a long time.
Definitely. Big C's, who I'm sure you know, he's the biggest Panthers fan I know. He gets into these big battles with Paul Bissonnette. And I love to see it because I do love Paul Bissonnette on a side note. But Big C says, this is what he says. He goes, 1 shift, 1 period, 1 game. It's not over till they say it's over. And then he says, his way to play the 200-foot game is the best in the league. So,
no doubt. And Tim, you mentioned also, so the Heat are obviously the standard. We're going to talk about the Heat and your amazing book that you put together, but the Heat are the standard in town with the 3 championships. Everybody else of the major 4 have 2. But as you just mentioned, those 2 gentlemen on the screen prior, and Bill Zito and Paul Maurice, if they're able to, in this next 5-year run left, if they're able to get that second one, would have put them at 4, and they would enter the conversation. In fact, surpass the Heat in titles if the Heat don't make any drastic moves here coming up. So that says everything you need to know about those 2 gentlemen right there and what they've done thus far.
Everyone, Paul's more visible because Paul talks every practice, every game. Paul talks publicly more often than Billy does. So I think the fan base has, and plus Paul is, he's had the rather profane moments, the rather serious moments. He gets all, and he's earned all of the credit that he gets. Paul's an incredible guy to cover, very open with us, very giving of his time. trust me, it is a joy to deal with Paul every day, not just because they're winning, but because
he's a fun guy.
he'll really give you a thoughtful answer.
Yep.
Billy is not as forward facing because that's the job. GMs don't get out there and talk all day, every day. But I do think it's cool that I think Panther fans understand what they have here, and that you have, I mean, yes, Pat Riley, Andy Ellisberg, Adam Simon, Mickey Arison, Nick Arison, Eric Spoelstra. It's like a 20-headed monster down at 601 Biscayne. Pat and Andy, sort of running that office, they're obviously elite. You get that same sort of vibe from the Panther fan base when they talk about Bill Zito. And when I do games, whether it's a Heat game or a Panther game, I try to go up to the upper deck and just walk around a couple of laps just to kill some time, blow off some steam before every game. And you see some people from time to time, they'll see the credential and they'll stop you and they'll talk. And they want to talk about the players. They love the players, or they want to tell you that you suck, which is very common when they say that. And I appreciate that. But the Panther fans, it really seems to have a real understanding of Bill Zito, and honestly come to his defense a lot about not winning league awards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you think Billy cares that he doesn't win the Jack Adams? Billy gets the cup. Like, Billy's been walking around with a cup the last 2 summers.
It's the last one. Yeah.
That's the DM award. It's cool that Panther fans get it. How incredible of a job that he's done. And look, we talk about this core. He's not done. Like, there's some guys who are coming. There's some guys who are going to hit the market. The Panthers know what they have to do to get those guys, and they won't say it, but yeah, the tax thing, that's kind of a big deal. The culture, that palace of a practice facility that Vinny Viola and Matt Caldwell, let's give Matt Caldwell some credit, even though he's gone to the Wolves now. Matt was instrumental in a lot of the things about that building. So was Billy. Billy had a ton of say in the details of that building, but they built a palace over there in Fort Lauderdale. Players love that. Players love being able to take golf carts to work. There are some guys who walk to work on this team. I'm not kidding. They don't walk to Sunrise, but they walk to Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
Players around the league notice those things. And by the way, do you think Austin Matthews might have noticed that in Florida they cheered his gold medal?
I loved it.
And another city, they didn't cheer it so much. So just saying, just something to keep an eye on maybe a couple of years.
And I'm sure they had fun in 11. I'm sure they had fun on the red double-decker bus. Like, there's state tax. There's a lot going on here. But Big C said, the only cup that matters to him is the Stanley Cup. All right, so you talked about, how much joy essentially the Panthers have brought the fans. The fans reciprocated. It's a great relationship. Everyone's, drinking the Kool-Aid down here, per se. But a team that we're just not feeling it this year or the past few years is the Miami Dolphins. And they haven't won a playoff. And we talk about them so much.
Few.
And it's
last few years.
25 years. It's like Titanic. 25 years to be exact. So they haven't won a playoff game in 25 years. I've only been a fan since 2009, so I've never seen a good Dolphins team. But Tim, I want to ask you, what in your eyes do you think is preventing the Miami Dolphins from turning this around, being competitive, and just being good? What is stopping them?
I don't know. I wish I did. I don't. I really wish I did know. And it's funny because sometimes you just you wish you could put a finger on it and say, this is why, this is the reasoning. They have an unbelievable practice facility. They have a great home field advantage in September, or so you would think.
Yeah.
With that sideline being 157 degrees on the visitor side and all of that. Only thing I can tell you is there's reason for optimism. I know the Tua situation, what's going to happen post June 1, let all that play out. Yeah. Jeff Hafley played at Siena College, which is now Siena University, but it was Siena College when he played there. Siena College has not lost a football game in 20 years.
Wow, I did not know that.
Because they disbanded the program.
Wow. You stumped. I'm like, wait, how would I know that? That's not in my clip notes.
They have a man of Siena running this now, and that's why I believe this team is going to finally be different. and they're going to get it done. Look, I really like the hires.
I
think they I liked Mike. I don't think Mike was the problem. It's just sometimes messages get stale. Like Paul Maurice has said this. Like coaches have half-lives. Like they really do. There's a shelf life to every coach. When you've used every speech, when you've used every trick in the book, maybe that's what was going on here, or it's just time to just completely start fresh. We all know there are major cap issues that are going to have to be addressed. It sounds like some of those will be addressed post June 1. Obviously, some of that's already happened. The Tyreek, the move with Tyreek and all that, and you hope he gets healthy and that he can play again one day. It seems like recovery is going the right way, but it was such a major injury. You just hope to see Tyreek happy and healthy and running around and doing what he's great at one day again. I have been, as a guy who's not from here, Ash.
Yeah.
I go to those games, and it is amazing to me the loyalty that Dolphin fans have. I know they're all upset.
Yeah.
I know y'all grumble on Twitter. I get it.
I do.
I don't know where you grumbled before Twitter, but I'm sure you grumbled somewhere. MySpace, or maybe even actually in person. Maybe you sent grumbling letters to each other in the 80s and 90s. But
you probably did.
I just have to think that at some point it changes. Like I thought they were going to be good last year. I mean, I got dragged.
We did too.
Saying they were going to be 11-6. I thought they were going to be good. They made a run. They didn't, it was looking like 1-16 there for a minute. So the pick it didn't get, I only missed by 4 wins or whatever it was.
It was fun beating Buffalo at home. We got the win in Atlanta on my birthday weekend. Like, we had some good moments, but at the end of the day, it's just the same old season. Dolphins.
Yeah. But
there are paths. Like New England played in the Super Bowl. New England wasn't very good a minute ago. They played in the Super Bowl this year. You talk about the handcuffs with the cap. Well, the Denver Broncos showed it is possible to be handcuffed by a cap. And if you're smart and if you're lucky, and so much of sports is luck, if you get smart and you get a little bit lucky along the way, really good things can happen to you. I don't think they're going to be a 12-win team in 2026, but I think the right steps will be made. But you have the big, whether they go 17-0 or 0-17 this year, it would be nice if they knew who their quarterback was going forward. Like, what is your foundation? What's your philosophy? Where does this thing get better? Like, what happens going forward? It would be great if there weren't a ton of enormous dark clouds hanging over this franchise going into 27. If you can avoid those in 26, then I say it's a good year. I know fans are impatient. I understand that. I respect it. I'm not telling you not to be. But if you can see a reason for hope in 27, then I think this year will be a good year.
Perfect. And I wanted to ask you, because you did get to ask the second question in that introductory presser, and you picked a great question. You kind of, showed your cards a little bit, but you mentioned how the fact that you stole my thunder on the question, but you mentioned how, he is a Siena guy, and, Division III, the foundation that he laid out, if he was going to carry that and what that did to build his character for this next tall order of his coaching career. And so my question to you is, did you like what you saw out of both these gentlemen? Are both these guys, in your opinion, the right men to lead this team moving forward?
Well, I do love that they're each other's stunt doubles. Like I really like that, first of all.
Right.
They could play each other in the movie. So I like that. It's like the Winklevoss twins in the Mark Zuckerberg Facebook movie, when it was in fact really just one guy and they just filmed it twice. They could do that now with the Dolphins. So I like that. The thing that, I asked the question because, yes, I'm an upstate New York guy and I wanted to ask Siena. I didn't know I was going to get called on for the second question, but you take what you get. This guy has done the laundry. This guy has lined the field. I'm sure this guy has done repairs to helmets and fixed pads and things of that nature. This guy has earned every promotion he's gotten. And when you are coaching at a double-A baseball stadium that's falling apart or playing at it, really, even though he was part of the coaching staff kind of by default at Siena because he was always hurt. They played at a little ballpark called Heritage Park, just outside of Albany, in a little town called Colony. Derek Jeter, Bernie Williams, and those guys. It was the Yankees double-A field.
Oh,
They
wow.
played there in the early 90s on their way, obviously, to the Bronx and what those Yankee teams became. Heritage Park had wooden bleachers that like sagged when you sat on them.
Oh, my goodness.
It's not there anymore. It's long gone. The place was falling apart. When you're there in a creaky press box, when the yardage lines aren't straight because you sort of just tried to eyeball it and you've got 5 minutes to paint it before the teams come out, whatever the deal was, you're not thinking of, I get to coach one of the most storied franchises in the history of sport. I get to cover the only team in Perfectville. I get to cover Dan Marino's team. I get to coach Dan Marino's team, Don Shula's team. You're not thinking that then. This guy has earned everything he's ever gotten in the game. And people they think of Miami, they think of South Florida as the beach and the mansions and the Ferraris and the fast cars. Unless you're from here, you don't understand how blue collar so much of South Florida is and how we respect grinders, how we respect hard work. Jeff Hafley has taken that path. Like, this is a guy who, again, every teeny step of the way, nothing given to him. How can you not just like that? That's his DNA, that this is a guy who's worked so hard to get here. Now he has this chance. Think he's going to let this one go? They think he's not going to do everything remotely possible to turn this thing into a winner? I don't know how he's going to do it. I'm not a football coach, but I love his story. I love his DNA. I've talked to a lot of people from his past, from the Albany days, from the Siena days and things like that about him. Nobody has one bad word to say about the guy. Not one. By the way, this is a guy who played 4 years of college football and busted his butt to do that, again, with a ton of leg injuries. Caught one pass in college. Caught one pass. He was not a stud. He was not a star. He didn't do it for glory. Nobody knew he existed. One pass in college. And he's extremely proud of that one catch that he had. So
I actually got to meet him on Saturday.
Dolphin fans.
No, he's amazing. On Saturday, I was part of DCC. It was my 5th one. I have a coach. I co-captained a team with Ian, Big E Burger, and we were doing the 5K. And I ran into coach, and it's first time meeting him. There's people around him. They know who he is. And I introduced myself and I said, I'm so happy you're here. And I said, I'm also from Jersey. He goes, oh, what part? And he showed interest. I mean, then we had the Jersey connection. Then we talked about Bruce. So in my books, he is A-okay. I love the guy. He is shorter. People say, but I'm tall. I'm a 5'7" girl. But I will tell you, he's a little on the shorter side. He does look like Mike the Situation, but anyway, all right. Enough of the Dolphins.
Speaking, you mentioned in your book he's good. And speaking of books, great segue. This is an amazing book, and so we were so thrilled to join you in Coral Gables at Books and Books for your event. And so you want to pull up the picture of me and Tim when you signed my book. It was a great event. A lot of big names there, by the way, Tim. You had Coach Spo, Asia Wilson. There's there's Tim and I when he signed my book. So, you had Coach Spo, Asia Wilson, Andy Ellisberg was there.
Bam Adebayo.
I'm getting there. Oh. Michael Biamonte, John Crotty. Father Manny was in attendance. And then, yes, Bam Adebayo was the MC, if you will. And you made a great joke, Tim, where you said that Bam Adebayo is the second best basketball player in the room. Of course, a nod to Asia Wilson. I love that. That was great. Bam didn't like it too much, but it was a great thing. But, Tim, I want a tremendous book. Like I said, whether you're a Heat fan or an NBA fan, it's a must read. It's a great book with so many amazing facts. Insight from the beginning to present day. And Tim, what inspired you to write the book?
Well, honestly, again, it goes back to that right place, right time sort of storyline that I've had. I got an email from a publisher in St. Louis called Reedy Press, the publisher of the book. I got an email from them, I don't know, maybe about 1.5 years ago by now, probably almost 2 years ago by now, actually, saying, hey, we want to get into the sports space. This is what we do. We do these timeline books. We haven't done really much with sports. They had just done a Celtics book when they were coming off their championship, so it worked out perfectly for them. We talked to some people, and we heard your name, and would you be interested? And I was committed to it about 10 minutes later. And
Love it.
It was a lot of fun. It was first of all, I've only covered the team since 2003, so I missed all the early years. It's not just 88 to 2003. It really goes back to like 84, 85 when the ideas were born for this team. So I knew some of the stuff. I didn't know it all. I had to go back and learn it. I had to do a ton of research, and then of course those 15 years that I wasn't here for, they were very important. You know, that Riley guy showed up in 96. So that was kind of a big moment that I wasn't here for. Of course, by then you know those stories. And it's a book. The hardest part of the book, honestly, was, you know, there's only about like 150, 160 little vignettes in it. We could have done 1,500. I mean, there's just so many. You try to, you know, not have it all be big three, not have it all be championship years. You try really hard to just, you know, make sure every team is covered. And, you know, we there's some stuff I wanted to get in. We just ran out of space. We just ran out of time. We ran out of pages. We ran out of everything. But I think it's a pretty fair synopsis of the biggest moments, or at least most of the biggest moments of this team along the way. And hopefully people, even if you've been diehard Heat fans, whether you've been a fan for 5 years or almost all 40, whatever it is, 37, 38, whatever they're
38.
Yeah.
Hopefully anybody could pick it up and either get reminded of something that they forgot, or hopefully learn something that they didn't know. And if we could do that a couple of times in the course of the book, then it was probably a success.
Perfect. All right. So I want to we're going to talk about the Heat just for a little. I wanted to start with the chat because this question's fantastic and it's on all of our minds. I'm going to ask Big C's question, then I'm going to ask mine. Straight up, what do the Heat have to do to get back to competing for champions again? I think his question speaks for Heat Nation. Tim, this year's been rough. Last year, the whole Jimmy Butler drama. How do we get back to the Heat team that we know and we love and we're craving for again? Those great years.
I don't know what Jimmy drama you speak of.
You don't. I'm pretty
it's
sure
almost
you
like,
too.
It's like some guy asked him if he'd lost his joy.
Who was that guy?
I mean, it's why we love you, Tim. You said what we all want to say.
Maybe not the greatest moment ever. I didn't know what we were getting into with that question.
You did it perfectly. You exposed him for what it is, and neither here nor there. But yeah.
What do they have to do? Well, first of all, you got to get a little lucky. Like, so I actually, you know, I went to practice today and just sort of chatted with Spo for a while afterward, for a few minutes. And, you know, they're pretty good in offense this year. Pretty good numbers on defense.
Yeah.
They've beaten a bunch of good teams. Should have beaten Boston. Just beat, you know, a very good Houston team. They've been competitive with the best teams. They should have a lot more wins this year.
Yeah.
They're figuring it out in a lot of ways. They're now going to be without Norman Powell for at least 3 more games, probably a few more than that. I mean, I know they said he's week to week with a groin. I can't remember the last time a groin strain was a week, unless it's like super, super mild, then maybe. But the anticipation would be he's going to miss more games than just what's left this week. Tyler Hero obviously has missed most of the year. They've never been complete, or they've been complete for just a few minutes. It's been tough. They need to get lucky with health. They need to get some continuity. And then one of these days, some big name is going to say, trade me to Miami. Because that's what it takes now. Gee, it's funny that you picked that photo to go up there at that.
Well, I'm just saying, I guess you read my mind because that's the person, the big name who I want down here. So, Tim, is he ever going to come down here? Are we ever going to get Giannis here? Do you see it?
We missed about the trade deadline, but in the summer, will this be revisited from a Miami Heat standpoint?
Yeah, he's going to get it's going to be the story of the summer in the NBA. Where does Giannis go? What does he decide to do? I think a lot of it's going to be dictated by other moves. What's LeBron going to do? What are the Lakers going to look like?
Yeah.
What are the Spurs going to do? Who wants to go team up with Victor Wembanyama? Spoiler alert, a lot of guys are going to want to go there. And the Spurs, by the way, are like the third betting choice right now to win the title.
Wow.
None of us, I mean, everyone thought they'd be good. Nobody thought they'd be that good. So they're going to be an intriguing team to watch. The lure of Eric Spoelstra is still very, very strong in this league. Guys want to play for him. It's just so tough to make the moves. And I know, Heat Twitter, I see you. I hear you. I feel you. And in some cases, I mute you. But that's, very precious few cases. It takes two teams to make a deal. So my biggest, like the Damian Lillard saga from a couple summers ago, everyone's like, the Heat made a terrible offer. The Heat offer wasn't good enough to get Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
There was no offer. The Blazers never engaged.
That's the thing. The rumor spread. I remember he wanted the Damian Lillard shoes. That day we went out to Sawgrass Mills Mall and he wanted the Damian Lillard shoes. You fell in the trap too. Don't lie to Tim.
I did.
Aaron Goodwin, Damian's agent, who I've known probably for as long as I've covered the league. He's coming to Miami. He wants to be in Miami. Said it on the record to me. Yeah. He wanted to come to Miami. But the Blazers were not going to trade him here. That's just all there was to it. It's not, I love these stories. Pat fell asleep at the trade deadline. Yeah. What? What? Mm-hmm. Where does some of this stuff come from?
Yeah, I know.
And the trade machine is one of the worst things ever invented, because now people get on the trade machine and they're like, well, this adds up, so this must have been the offer. It's, they don't want to trade Nico, they don't want to trade Tyler, so but they don't want to do. So it sounds like Giannis for, let's see, Triple J and 3 second-round picks. No, it doesn't work that way. Teams are not lining up to help the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
It's that simple. If a player says, and I'm really surprised the Dame thing didn't happen, because Dame did say, I want to go to Miami. Okay. I'm stunned it didn't happen that way. But Portland had its reasons. They were not going to engage. They weren't going to give Dame what he wanted. Cooler heads ultimately prevailed. He goes to Milwaukee. The aprons kick in. Milwaukee buys him out. And he goes back to Portland. Everybody wins except Miami. But it's great for Dame, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. I know some people were upset last year that they didn't tank, and then the lottery balls might have fallen exactly Miami's way, and Cooper Flagg might be here right now. I don't know if you can play that game. I guess it would have worked kind of that way, but you don't know. They're not going to tank here ever. They did that once. They tried tanking for Derrick Rose, and here's the funny thing, guys, if you remember. Not in the book, by the way. I don't.
Off the record.
I don't think so. They tanked for Derrick Rose. They didn't win the lottery. They get Michael Beasley. If they had gotten Derrick Rose, the odds of LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade playing together in Miami 2 years later were 0. It's funny how things work out sometimes. So I know everyone is eager. It's much like we said about Dolphin fans. The patience has worn super thin. I get it. I understand that. Spo made it very clear today. We're not talking about trying to win 2 games against Brooklyn. We're not talking about trying to beat Brooklyn once. We're trying to win practice today. They've taken a very simple approach to the day. They know what's out there. They know what the noise is, and they know what the expectations are. If healthy going into the second week of April, does anybody want to see Eric Spoelstra come in with a healthy roster? Does any team in the East, in a wide open East, due respect to Detroit, due respect to Boston, due respect to Cleveland, due respect to New York, anybody want to see a healthy Heat team with Eric Spoelstra coming? Probably not.
No. But at 32 and 29 right now.
I leave you with this. I'll leave you with this on this point. Yeah. And I'm with you. Dolphin fans have waited a quarter century for a playoff win. It has been 3 whole years since this team went to the NBA Finals. This team went to the finals in 2023. Yep. This is not like a 20-year rebuild. You won the East 3 years ago. Maybe a little perspective every now and then.
But I will say at 32-29 and currently in the AC, they lose a tiebreaker.
Right. They should be better. They should be a lot better, and they know that. And look, they should be. They've given away so many games.
Yes.
Yeah.
The teams that you should not lose to over the last few years. It's mind-boggling how that keeps happening. There are some things that need to be addressed, absolutely, but you can't just wave a wand and say we're going to get this guy. The other team has to want to deal with you. That's not to say there aren't real issues,
of course,
that they need to address. We all know that.
All right, Tim. So before I let you,
let's do the rapid fire with the Heat.
I want to do rapid fire. Yeah.
So just want to do some rapid fire with Heat history really quick here, and we're going to combine this next question. What is the legacy of the big three in the Heatles? Going to 4 straight NBA Finals, tremendous, but they won just 2 of those, and a lot of people thought it should have been more. LeBron obviously leaves early. So 2-point question here, and again, we're trying to do the rapid fire with Heat history here, but what is the legacy of the Heat, the big three there? Because most people will tell you a dynasty means 3 championships. They only got 2. And then the follow-up question is with regard to LeBron versus Jordan, who's the better one of the 2 there?
Come on. So you want to do James versus Jordan first?
Let's start that one.
I've always said that this is the wrong comparison because they're not the same. They're not built the same. They're not the same position. They're not the same anything.
And they didn't play in the same time. I mean, it's 2 different styles of basketball.
The eras just make it silly. But I mean, do I think who do I think the best basketball player of all time is? Michael Jordan.
I like it.
I just do. But what LeBron has done over 23 years and counting, I don't think he's done, is unmatched. It's unmatched. He's, the all-time leading scorer. Yeah, he got 4 rings, and people will say he had help for those 4 rings. Well, so what? He went to the finals 10 times. He only won 4. So what? He got to the finals 10 times. He went there like a million years in a row or something stupid. Like, I get that people, like, why can't we have, like, this doesn't happen in hockey. There's no Gretzky Lemieux. There's no Gretzky Crosby. There's no Crosby Lemieux. There's none of. Yeah. Well, it doesn't happen. You celebrate all of the greatness in hockey. Yeah, right. You celebrate all of the greatness in baseball. In basketball, we've gotten absolutely so polarized by it's got to be these 2 guys against each other. And I've never understood it because LeBron's comparison is Magic. 6'9", big body, can play the point, can play center, can guard. LeBron can guard 1 through 5 better than Magic could. There are things that LeBron James does and has done and continues to do that nobody in the history of the game can do. Michael couldn't guard 1 through 5 the way that LeBron does.
Fair, yeah.
Michael was just different. I don't understand why we can't appreciate them both as saying, how did we get so lucky that we got to see both of these guys? One of them is a blessing. We got 2 of these guys. How much fun was it to cover? I mean, the first part, the 4 years, how do you assess it? Are 3 titles a dynasty? I don't know. 4 runs to the finals. That's pretty dynastic.
Yes.
In terms of, in terms of NBA, the Celtics won 8 in a row. So I get it. But in terms of South Florida, in terms of today's NBA, the Warriors had their run. The Heat, it's not exactly the same. It's not quite apples to apples. But in terms of South Florida, other than maybe some Kane seasons, we've never had anything like that.
Dominant run.
We've never had anything like that. And Miami, you guys know this. You guys know this better than I do. Miami loves us against the world.
Yeah.
They love us against the world.
The fuel.
Well, if you're from here, us beat the world a whole lot in those 4 years.
Absolutely.
And everybody was hating on Miami, which is the other fun thing about Miami. when people are hating on you, that means it's going pretty good. And it was going really good for those 4 years. If the worst thing that happened was a few fans left early from a finals game and whatever, okay, LeBron didn't have a great finals in 11. We all get that. What happened in 12? 45, 15, and 5, game 6 in Boston with the legacy on the line. Mm-hmm. Ray's shot. It ran its course in 2014, and it was time for something different. It was an amazing 4-year run. I've always said it like this. I think LeBron came to college at Miami. LeBron went to Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra University, learned how to become a champion, then went back to Cleveland and did something nobody's ever done, won a championship there. Without those 4 years, I don't think LeBron's still playing. I don't think LeBron catches Kareem. Who knows what would have happened? LeBron was the best player in the game when he came here, and then when he left, he was in a whole different world. Let's just appreciate it for what it was.
I agree. And so I wanted to also talk about legacy. Pat Riley just recently got his statue in LA. And so are we going to have more moments like this down here? Because we got the Dwayne Wade one. That's nice. But you just mentioned a couple of moments. You got a couple of guys in Zoe, who the first big superstar, we traded our original superstar, Glenn Rice, for him. The heading in the Miami Herald, good morning, to bring Zoe down here. Shaq, obviously, promised the championship and delivered. So would those be options of having statues as well down here? And then I'd also like to, you mentioned in a moment, Ray Allen. So it's not for the Ray Allen's accomplishment as a member of the Heat, but it could be the shot statue, similar to what there's in Philadelphia with Nick Foles and Doug Peterson. Do you want Philly, Philly? Well, the shot and the yellow rope, that could be an immortalized moment. So do you think that more statues are coming to just remind everybody of the greatness that Pat Riley has brought down here to Miami?
I'm not really statue guy, because it's so tough to get the moments exactly right in a statue. I mean, what Pat did, the Lakers have a bunch of them. So unless the Heat want to commit to a bunch of them, that's one thing. I've always been a big fan of like what the Yankees do, like Monument Park.
Yes.
Like something like that, a museum type feel or something at the arena where you can, walk through, build a little hallway and have people feel those moments and hear those moments. And now you have the technology now for that. Sure. So Ray's shot and things like that. By the way, I'm glad you mentioned Glenn Rice, because I know he didn't play here for long. I know he wasn't here in the Riley era, obviously, because they traded him for Zoe. 41 should be in the rafters.
Thank you.
I'm a big proponent of putting Glenn Rice in the rafters.
Tim, they've never given it out. Even when James Posey came down here, who's worn 41 throughout his whole career, they didn't give it to him. 41 has never been given out.
It's almost like people are hoping it happens, and then for whatever reason, it never does. Glenn Rice, by the way, does an amazing job with Tony Fiorentino, the junior Heat camps, the junior Heat Academy stuff. Glenn Rice once got into a game of knockout against a bunch of Heat campers. And his teammate was a guy who's in the New York State Basketball Hall of Fame, by the way. And he lost because I suck. And I was the teammate. So there's that.
Yeah.
I did not have a good shooting day, Ash. I'm sorry. Put G money in the rafters. Also, I don't know how you're going to retire 7. Do you retire it for Goran or do you retire it for Kyle? I don't know which. But I'd love to see the Heat do a museum, not a monument park, but something of that ilk, because you're right. It's been almost 4 years. It's been almost 4 decades. I'm sorry. There's been so many great moments. Dwayne shot in 2004 in the playoffs over Baron Davis. And, Eric Reed has all these iconic calls. And, Mike Breen, the iconic call with Ray. You have these moments. You can match the video to the sound and let fans who weren't there feel what the building felt like. And if you're not from here, you don't realize this. But Kaseya, to me, is one of those buildings where sound still has feel. And if you did something like that, if you replicated that, that would be so cool for fans. I think fans would get a big kick out of it. And it's your way of paying tribute to the great moments. And there have been a ton of them. So you have enough now for a museum. I'd like to see the Heat do something like that.
All right, Tim. So before we let you go, I'm going to ask you 5 questions. You're going to spit out the first thing that comes to your mind. It's called a rapid fire. So it's going to be like, for example, favorite food.
Pizza.
Okay. All right. So first question. Little Tim, going to go back to little Tim. We're in New York growing up. You're wearing a starter jacket. Which team are you wearing your starter jacket? Who was your favorite team growing up? Who's your starter jacket?
Still is my favorite team, the Philadelphia Phillies.
No way, Tim. I had no idea.
Yep.
We have a lot of Philadelphia viewers on our show, a lot of our great friends. And wow. So, okay. Mine would be the New Jersey Nets. I was a huge Nets fan growing up. Jason Kidd made me fall in love with the game. Fun fact.
Back then, not anymore. Back then.
Yeah. Heaven forbid I say Nets. This one freaks out. But the New Jersey Nets, I'm wearing my starter. Favorite athlete growing up?
Favorite athlete growing up? Heat fans aren't going to love this one, but it's really tough to not say Larry Bird.
Fair. No, respect. Favorite athlete to cover throughout your career?
Oh, that's too many. I mean, I like I said, I've been so lucky to cover them all. Favorite one to cover?
They can call up right now, FaceTime. Tim, how you doing? Let's go get a steak at Morton's. Who are you calling?
A lot of guys.
If you want to call him now, Tim, by all means.
On the show?
We'll listen.
I mean, I covered Dwayne Wade's career.
It's beautiful.
That's kind of cool. Yeah. I mean, how do you not say D Wade? Like, how do you not say?
All right, 2 more. Favorite sports venue in the whole entire world?
That would be the Olympic Center in Lake Placid, New York. Every time I go home, the first thing I do is I go into the rink. I sit there and I stare at the ice at the end where Mike Eruzione had the goal in 1980. When you're from where I'm from, the Olympics are part of your DNA. Lake Placid just centers me. It is my happy place. I have sat. That locker room 5 was the locker room that they used for the game against the Soviets. There have been times I've just gone down to that locker room and just sat in there and they haven't done a thing to it, by the way. It's still just this really tiny, dumpy room that it was 46 years ago. And you sit in there and you're like, something awesome happened in this room. And you feel those vibes. And it just, I don't know, it just kind of like recharges me or recharges my soul in some ways. So Olympic Center, Lake Placid.
I love it.
By the way, 1A, Saratoga Racecourse. If you're a horse racing fan, go to Saratoga.
Nice. I love it. All right, last one. You meet Jesus. Jesus says to you, Tim, out of all the events you've covered, out of all the opportunities I've given you, what is the number one best moment, event that you've covered that you're taking with you? That really left a lasting impression on you, that you're in your heart, the number one.
It's going to be the last one that I covered.
The Olympics.
No, not the last one I have covered. It's going to be the last one I cover.
Oh, I thought you meant the last one that you just covered. I was like, the Olympics. I said, wow.
If I get, I'm not just saying this. Like,
yeah,
I'm always excited about the next thing, and whether the next thing is a golf tournament or the World Cup or a Heat preseason game, I don't care. Like, it's such an honor to do what we do. It's an honor to tell these stories. If I do get to meet, the great JC when I head into whatever's awaiting us after this life,
yes.
It's going to be the last thing that I cover, whatever that was, and because whatever that will be, it will be the end of just a stupidly lucky journey.
That's amazing.
Like I said, I've used the term "I'm lucky" so many times, but I'm just incredibly blessed to do this. I got my wife out of this. I got my wife out of this. I got my life out of this. I got to see the world out of this. I got nothing to cry about.
Fantastic. Well, just as you mentioned, it's been an honor. It has been an honor for us to have you on the show. So we're tremendously grateful for that. You want to put up the screen one more time. So guys, we are going to be giving away this amazing book to one lucky viewer. We're going to be doing this in 2 parts. The first part is going to happen as soon as we log off here. And of course, if you don't win, you are very much encouraged to purchase the book, and you see the information below. It is a tremendous, tremendous read. So many great things here in this book. So the first part is, as soon as the show is over, you just simply have to leave a comment. You have to be a subscriber. Go on to YouTube. If you're watching on extra Twitter, come on over to YouTube and leave a comment. Not now, but as soon as the show's over, leave a comment. And the second part will be on Twitter X tomorrow, where we'll include it open to the chat as well, giving you 2 chances to win. We'll pull out a lucky winner, and somebody will win this amazing book. But once again, if you are not a winner out of the book, you can subscribe and you can purchase the book down below. The information's right there.
Tim, I want to leave you with this big.
Hang on, Ash. Let me just say this. Lou, whoever is lucky or not lucky, whoever wins, get their information. I'd like to personalize the book to them as well, and then we'll take care of that for them.
Well, there you go. That just made things a lot better.
That's amazing. So incredible. I'm gonna Big C's, who's had such an extraordinary life, who continues to inspire so many people, wanted me to share this with you. Amazing, Tim. Sports reporters like you got me through a lot of tough times throughout my life, so thank you. So yes, you're living a great life, but what you do is so much bigger than just sports. You're inspiring people. You inspire people like me to even want to better my career. You're inspiring people like Big C's, who's gone through so many challenging times. You're amazing, like he says. I double that. So on behalf of all of us, thank you for just being you and being real and just being awesome. Amazing, awesome, all those.
Thank you, Tim.
I do it, like I said, I think all of us who are in this field, if it's not for the viewers, the listeners, the readers, whatever, all we're doing is we're just telling the story. Like nobody ever bought a ticket to watch me type. We get very lucky to tell you something that hopefully you don't know. And hopefully we ask the questions that you want asked. I know we aren't always, we can't make everybody happy all the time, but that's sports. But it's without readers, without viewers, without what people like what you and Lou do, Ash. We're just one big happy sport family. And let's face it, there's some real world stuff going on out there. And Pat Riley says this is the toy department of human affairs, and
I love it.
Doesn't mean it derogatory. It's we cover games for a living, and how great is that? So it's amazing, and it's an honor, and I hope people enjoy what we do, and thank you for having me.
Perfect.
Thank you, Tim. You have a good night, and hopefully we can do it again sometime.
Yes, Tim. Enjoy the rest of the Heat season, Panther season. Hopefully we get to see them in May and June. But if not, you continue the great work, and we look forward to chatting with you. Yes.
Thanks, guys. Let's do this again.
Take care.
Good night, Tim. Thank you. Well, that was awesome.
He is an amazing human being.
Yes,
and
he is.
I was so fortunate. We were so fortunate to meet him at Books and Books, and just speaking with him. And, he's had such an extraordinary life, and he's so grateful for what he's been given. And he's so talented on top
Absolutely.
of that. So, guys, as Lou mentioned, what you want to do, this book that we got in November, it's amazing. Even if you're not a Heat fan, just to collect it in your collection. So go ahead, once the show is over, go onto YouTube and drop us a comment there. Let us know that you were here. You have to like to and subscribe to the show, and then we'll retweet it. And then we'll connect with Tim, and we'll get one lucky winner a book.
And not just the book, but he's going to sign it. He's going to personalize for you. That's a big deal.
Awesome.
So that's a great honor for you guys as well. So definitely, must be a subscriber to the show.
Yes.
Make sure you go on and leave a comment regarding tonight's episode, and you will be entered into the drawing. If you are on X or Twitter, we will be doing something special tomorrow as well. And again, we thank the great Tim Reynolds for joining us tonight. We will have a show, I guess, on Thursday. I think we're going to be in.
So, guys, on Thursday, it's a very, very, very special short episode. I'll be on live with Ian, Big E, and also Mike with Dolphins Talk. As you guys know, Ian is battling cancer, and he has a really bad liver. So we're doing a raffle to raise money to send his family on a family cruise. And so here's the raffle. It's going to be drawn live on Thursday, which is 305 Day, March 5th. And we have a signed Richmond Webb jersey with a photo. So, guys, get your donations in. It's going to be a live raffle on Thursday at 7:30 p.m. on 305 Day. So stay tuned for that. And, again, thank you to Tim Reynolds for joining us tonight. It was a fantastic episode. If you guys just tuned in, be sure to rewatch the episode. So much great information from his time at the Olympics to the Heat, to the Panthers, to the Dolphins. He covered it tonight. So, guys, we will talk soon.
Yes. Have a good night. See you later on this week.